We'll get into it. We'll get into it straight up this morning for you. Starting off with the Daily Post, and just like I predicted, a number of the papers do not have. The Daily Post actually has that story. So their big banner story: Martin Kpebu released by OSP. Has a picture of Mr. Kpebu, the special prosecutor Kisie Jabin, and lawyer Francis Xavier Sosu as well. Those are the pictures of the Daily Post, and so you see that large and in charge there for you, if you see. Also here, top up 9% salary increase or withdraw new utility tariffs, 2EC to government. Legally wrong and unacceptable, Sosu blasts OSP over Kpebu case. And so that's why we had the three of them captured on the front page. On the back page, a life well lived in honor of the late Defense Minister, Dr. Edward Omane Boama as well, 49 years of age. He would have celebrated his birthday on the 26th of this month, the month of December. Final funeral arrangements are being made in his honor this Saturday. No, not this Saturday. I think next week, Saturday, December 13, at the Jackson Park in Ofori-Atta. That's where that will happen. And so, by way of info as well for listeners, the Overseer is the next one I have. Pablo's mother goes home this weekend at Awukugua. That also on the front page of the Overseer newspaper. CMC MD assesses ongoing crop season, confirms readiness for 24-hour operations rollout. GFZA calls for urgent interventions to strengthen government or Ghana's agribusiness value chain. November inflation drops to 6.3%, marking 11th consecutive decline according to the Ghana Statistical Service. Sixus, good morning to you. I trust that all has been well with you over the weekend. No, not the weekend. Yesterday. No, it was yesterday. I wasn't.
We were here
too
yesterday.
Great, and so today is much better. I'm not struggling to speak, and so I think there's a lot of positives in that regard as well. But yes, it's good to be back, and I trust that you're well too.
I'm good. I'm fine. Thank you. God is good.
He's always been good. Forever He will remain good to all of us. You have some papers as well.
You read all?
Oh. So what I'm trying to do is have us get into the development from yesterday, right? And possibly begin to hear some of the voices and the story as it played out from yesterday involving private legal practitioner Martin Kpebu, because it was around news time, really. The news didn't really have to end when we entered into the realm of breaking news involving private legal practitioner Martin Kpebu having been detained by the office of the special prosecutor. And subsequently, it has come to our attention that he was released, and he spoke in the aftermath of his release. We'll hear from him as well. But I just want to bring in a number of the voices who began to react But first off, let me pick your thoughts. I think that's in the right direction. What you made of everything that played? Because when I heard the news, I was like, oh boy, this is just not the way to go. The OSP's office, they've been reacting as well, sharing their own version of development from the... I don't know if you've seen that already, but perhaps we'll start off from what is their own version of account, whilst I'm ready for us to hear from Martin Kpebu, who yesterday was at the heart and center of all of this development.
Oh, no, this is a no. It's a not, and it makes it very difficult for those of us who are in the minority, by the way, who are trying to bring some sort of reason and sanity, for lack of a better expression, to the increasing calls for the removal of Mr. Kisei Jabin as the OSP. Yes, as the SP. Sorry. In the advocacy that you've heard from a very few of us, we said that the man should not be crucified because he probably did not do well on one job. Let's look at his track record over the period. And I think it was in furtherance of that argument that the office released what they called achievements of the special prosecutor.
It was discussed in Parliament yesterday.
Yesterday, yes. And we tried, getting other reasons why. Some of us blamed the communications emanating from the OSP on its work and for all of the troubles that the SP found himself in. Only for this to happen. It's a not. Because see, if the man has leveled allegations against you, there are a number of options opened to you. You can let that be investigated either by yourself. I don't have a problem with the OSP investigating allegations leveled against the SP. I don't have a problem with that because I believe in the office. I believe that it is an office, it has structures, and that a case can be investigated if we have officers of integrity at that office. They can actually investigate allegations against a member of the office or a head of the office without any influence. It should be possible. But that sounds probably too idealistic. And so as we are trying to make this argument and trying to let people see reason why the office in itself should not be touched, the head of the office himself should at least be given an opportunity to explain himself, then things like this happen. It is not necessary. You can investigate the man. Even if you like, you can sue him as SP because the allegations are against the person of the SP as occupant of the office. So as Mr. Kisei Jabin, you can sue Martin Kpebu if you so please. But to directly allow your office to arrest and detain the man who is so loud about you in the public space, who is, as some have described, your public enemy number one, it is no. The optics alone are not even good for you. Forget the law. Forget what the law says about it. And I keep speaking about communication, about imaging and all of that. Let's put the law on pause for a minute. The optics alone are not good. Martin Kpebu has been very loud about your supposed corruption or corrupt activities. Let the man be investigated by some officers. Or if you like, let the CID investigate the allegations that have been leveled against you. If you even feel that, the public might say, because your office is investigating, there may be some influence on it, you have some influence over the investigation, so it will not be credible. If you want to demonstrate that you are interested in seeing an end to this satisfactorily, creditably, for people to indeed believe and trust in you and in the office, you could let the CID deal with this matter. But you invite him to the office, then suddenly you detain him. You arrest him and detain him. The first time he went to the office, he told us that they attempted restricting him to one lawyer, which is not. There's no law that says that if you are arrested or if you are invited, you must come with one lawyer. There's no law that says that. And for an office that is interested in accountability, an office that should promote transparency, good ethics, and ensure that the people who are trusted with the public resources are living up to the standards of their jobs. We don't expect things like this from that office.
Let me pause you there and bring in what Martin Kpebu had to say after he was released, because there's been a lot of reactions questioning whether or not the OSP was right in its ways. We'll hear from the individuals who spoke to us last night. But first, let's hear from Martin Kpebu. And then the Office of the Special Prosecutor as well has given their version of account. I'll read that as well to set a proper context from which we will proceed to go into the matters, because he was arrested for obstructing an officer. I'll have us go through the legislation or the enactment which created the Office of the Special Prosecutor and ask the question whether or not that falls within their mandate. And I don't want to make it as simplistic as that it doesn't fall within their mandate and so they should not be arresting an individual for obstructing an officer. But what really is permissible in terms of what played out, and also the use of bail, because this man is someone who has gone on to fight for bail to be made available for every crime whatsoever. But let's listen to Martin Kpebu first off.
Well, somehow it was like like a fairy tale. So my spirits were still up. I mean, when I was taken into custody, I was here to, be undressed, and then you do the custody gowns and those. So my spirits were still very high because I knew that I hadn't done anything wrong. Look, what they've actually done is that this is a suicide mission that Kissie Jabin's OSP has embarked on. Yeah, he can pretend he has nothing to do with it, but he's the head. Okay, the one who called the policeman to arrest me, he's called Seth Ablomensa. He's the chief of staff at the OSP. He's the one who directed Mr. Opoku, the policeman, to arrest me, right? And what was it? You see, earlier on in the day when I went in there, I came out to grant this is an interview. In the morning. So when I returned, then there was a soldier. Can you imagine? We'll come to what a soldier is doing at the OSP, performing police duties. We'll leave that aside. But when I got back into the OSP, then one of the soldiers told me, and by the way, they weren't wearing name tags. They didn't have name tags, and yet they were performing police duties. And there were two policemen too. So one of the soldiers told me that, but we allowed you to park. You see, the tone we allowed you to park was like, even parking was a favor. So I didn't understand. Next time, when you come in here, we will not allow you to go out. So I retorted that, no, he has no right to curtail my rights. In any event, I'm just there to help, right? They said, come and give further information. I'm not under any investigation. I'm not a suspect. I'm not an accused person. So then I continued going. Then a colleague of his, another soldier, then shouted to me, that next time I do that, I will see. That's what I said, next time. So that kind of threat, the Ghanaian English, next time you do that, you will see. In Ghanaian English, that means he will cause me some harm. You will see. There will be consequences, even if it's not physical harm, but there will be consequences. So I turned and gave him the same answer that no, he has no right. I'm not a suspect. Even a suspect, can you do that? So I said he had no right. Then next thing I knew, he said, I'm stupid. That's what the soldier said. The soldier said, I am stupid. Oh, of course. So I turned back and told him that he's also stupid. So we exchanged a few words. And then one of my lawyers pulled me for us to go in. We went, and then, as usual, the OSP chose to present employees. When we had made it clear at the second meeting that, look, considering that almost all of my allegations are against Kissie Jabin, who is the special prosecutor, and these are his subordinates. The subordinates can't do much about their bosses. Martin, they say do that. Can you investigate, if let's say, Mr. Nyama, your this COO? You can't investigate Mr. Nyama, much less the MD. So that's the same thing. And even before I was invited, Ghanaians had said it on various social media and private messages to me that how can OSP investigate itself? But you know me, I'm a law-abiding citizen. I thought that as long as they can do something to accommodate that to show independence, I'm willing to give the information. In any event, I'm almost done. I'm presenting a petition to the president for onward submission to the CJ. I have a lot of charges. As I'm talking to now, I have over 15 charges against Kisi Ejabin. I'm not running away from this fight. So the least they shouldn't have even tried it. You don't try such a thing. You see, you don't try such a thing. It just tells you the very incompetency. My arrest and detention underscores the incompetence with which Kisi Ejabin sat down and allowed Ofori-Atta to run. Kisi is not up to scratch. Kisi has never been up to scratch. Because you see, how would you arrest Kpebu when I had already said it? Today is 3rd December. I mentioned on 2nd of November, you can check on the key points that I'll be presenting a petition for its removal. So such a person like me, and you know me, once I say I'm going to do this, I'll do it. So just stay clear of. Look, I don't mind the arrest, even assuming the exchanges with the soldier were illegal and so amount to something that they want to arrest. Remember, in law, there's a difference between arrest and detention. The arrest is you tag the person. You are under arrest. I'm investigating you for so and so offense. So when you are done, admit the person to bail, right? Then let the investigations continue. Can you imagine? Said Ablomensa said, yes, they were admitting me to bail, but I should bring a property in my name. For words, so a soldier insults me, Martin, you are stupid. And I also tell him you are stupid. That's the effect of the words.
So that's the reason why you were detained?
Yes, that I should bring property in my name. And where's the indenture? Fortunately for me, my office is just about 10 minutes from the OS. I have indenture in the office. So when we argued, my lawyers argued for about 15, not that continuously 15 minutes. My lawyers made a plea that, look, I should be given self-recognizance bail, right? And then said, Ablomensa said, okay, he would go consult. So he stepped out. So we thought it was going to be a favorable response. So when then subsequently he came in about 15 minutes and said, no, they would not do so. They will not vary the conditions to give self-recognizance. So then I told Mr. Marcelinus Bia, one of my lawyers who accompanied me, that, okay, Marcel, go to the office. I have indenture in my name. Just bring it. And my office is just, you can see, you can attest. There's less than 10 meters drive to the OSP. So Marcel came. Long story short, so Mr. Ablomensa asked that I be handcuffed and taken into custody. That it was too late, and that even when we brought the indenture, they would have to do verification. So practically talking about justification for exchanging words with a soldier who didn't know the right thing. He's not supposed to be performing police duties. A soldier performing police duties in the OSP. You see the very thing we've been talking about. Article 210 of our constitution is clear that, look, you soldiers for war and then maybe some development activities. But here you had the police, two policemen in there. And so if anything, if you think the building is under threat, anything, you use the soldiers as backup. But if you go to the OSP, the soldiers are performing frontline duties. You see, this thing I've been mentioned that soldiers are taking away the work of the police. You see it has manifested. It's not only in the Galamsey fight. Now, ordinary OSP, soldiers have taken away the work of the police, performing frontline duties. If you think the building is under threat, let the soldiers be at the back. Let the soldiers be at the back. What are they doing front line? And there was a policeman. Now, let me repeat with all the emphasis. Look, get it. You see, as I mentioned, the policeman who initially came and told us to move, we shouldn't do the interview where we were. You know, when I came in, he said nothing to me. He's Mr. J. I don't see his first name. Usually, they'll just put the surname. J. He stood there. He was quiet. Then I went past him. But these soldiers who couldn't contain it. So you see that there's a difference in the training. Police are trained differently from soldiers. Soldiers is war, high aggression. So for them, they couldn't contain it. So the policeman who came and, just like we're doing this interview, told us to move from there. We're not on the direct frontage of the OSP. The interview was being done on an ECG facility, which is near the entrance. So perhaps ECG to provide backup electricity for OSP and the other buildings in the area. But when you go there, you see that this is an ECG facility. So that's where the interviews were being granted. But even then, when Mr. J, the policeman, came and said we should move, the Joy News cameraman and Fatal, the journalists who were interviewing me, they were questioning his authority, because for them, they were clear that this an ECG facility is not OSP. Look, their camera, I'm sure, were live. It will bear me. I had to intervene that, look, I don't want to argue. You see, like we say, to paraphrase, when you go hunting for an elephant, don't concern yourself with rabbits, snails, and those things. No, we knew that Kisie Jambi must leave because he's incompetent, he's corrupt, etc. That's the thing. So I didn't want the story to expand. So the moment the policeman, Mr. J, said we should move, you even see, I'm sure their camera, the Joy News camera will capture. You see me pushing them that, no, let's go. I don't want an argument. So I pushed them. So we went off the ECG facility and did the interview further off. Then I walked in. When I walked in, so the policeman who came and asked us to move, so I met him. He didn't say anything. I bypassed him, still going to the OSP yard. Then these soldiers who have bad temperament, you see, like I said, very bad temperament, their work is not police duties. I don't know what is so, dangerous about Kpebu that you have soldiers supplanting police.
So that's Martin Kpebu, and it's a very extended conversation he had with his namesake, Martin Asiedu-Datte, as well. That's his version of accounts, exchange of words between himself and the military officers stationed at the frontage of the Office of the Special Prosecutor is what resulted in his arrest. I mentioned that the Office of the Special Prosecutor has sought to clarify the developments there. I'll read that in bits and pieces as well, and it's titled "Clarifying the Issues Surrounding the Incident Involving Martin Kpebu." The story is by Samir Darko, Director, Special Prosecutor's Office. A pattern of misconduct is the first theme they write to. This is not the first time or even the second Mr. Kpebu has acted improperly toward OSP security personnel in the discharge of their lawful duties. After each incident, he publicly presents a completely different version of event. Having monitored his conduct for some time, it became clear that unless his interactions were recorded, he would misrepresent the fact. A notable example is his false claim that there were 16 petitions calling for the removal of the special prosecutor. When confronted by KSM on a show, he admitted that he merely repeated what he heard someone say on Newsfile without verifying it. It is concerning that a lawyer would make such a statement without checking the facts. The second, which they raise, is the investigation is separate from his allegations. Now, they say that the confrontation at the OSP has nothing to do with the ongoing inquiry into the unsubstantiated allegations he made against the SP and the office. He continues to claim that he is gathering evidence and will eventually present it to an OSP board, despite knowing there is currently no board in place. This behavior follows a similar pattern. He refuses to cooperate, demands that certain officers be removed from the panel, gets his wish, and then introduces a new obstacle. Fortunately, the investigators have continued their work professionally despite his lack of cooperation and abusive conduct. Misleading the public about investigators is the third theme. They say that Mr. Kpebu repeatedly misleads the public by claiming that those handling the case are junior staff, when in reality their ranks are equivalent to deputy commissioners of police. He also falsely claims that the OSP is investigating itself, which shows either a misunderstanding or a deliberate misrepresentation of institutional processes. Fact-finding committees exist to establish facts, not to pronounce guilt or innocence. Police misconduct is not investigated by fire service officers. GRA misconduct is not investigated by immigration officers. And alleged misconduct in one university is not investigated by another. The principle is the same. They go on to what actually happened at the premises. Event at the gate. Upon arriving, Mr. Kpebu parked his vehicle and stepped outside the gate to conduct an interview. He always does this, brings in media men to speak to them before entering and after exiting. Security personnel cautioned him to move away from the entrance, so he moved to the fried yam seller spot and continued speaking to the media. That part interests you. There's a fried yam seller there. Afterwards, he entered the compound alone. The guards reminded him that photography and videography are not permitted around the premises. escalation, and arrest. He reacted angrily to the reminder and insulted the guards. They issued a formal warning about his conduct, but he insisted he could act as he pleased and threatened to report them. He told them that they are nobodies, even their boss, head of the agency, is nobody and will be removed soon. His continued insult and obstructive behavior led to his arrest for the offense of obstruction of officers in the performance of their duties. He was informed of his arrest on suspicion of obstruction in accordance with the law. The arrest was executed without force, and there is no internal record of any assault or mistreatment. They speak to the subject of bail. Following the arrest, bail was granted according to standard administrative procedures. The conditions were explained to him and his counsel. However, one of the lawyers refused to leave the premises until Mr. Kpebu was brought back. She insulted officers and created a scene, all of which were recorded despite her behavior. Officers removed her gently and without force. Their professionalism deserves commendation. Mr. Kpebu was transferred to a secure holding area as part of normal processing. Public concerns have been raised about the detention location, but internal records show that all the transfers followed protocol. At no point was he denied access to counsel or due process. Finally, the claim that the OSP fell into a trap is unfounded. The office has not fallen for any trap. It has simply applied the law to protect its personnel and maintain order on its premises. The office is clear. Connections, public influence, or media prominence do not place anyone above the law. If this was intended as a trap, then the OSP passed because it acted strictly within legal and procedural bounds. Such unruly behavior would result in an immediate arrest at any law enforcement facility. Could he attempt this at the police headquarters or the NIB headquarters? They ask. Mr. Kpebu is expected to report this morning at 11 a.m. after bail was granted last night for further investigations on the offense of obstruction of justice. A different date will be announced for his continuation of inquiry into his allegation of corruption later. That is the version of account of the Office of the Special Prosecutor.
And that is a typical example of measuring in the minors. And fortunately or unfortunately, the Director of Strategy and Communication is a seasoned media person. I'm sure he understands public relations and communications. And a different person would have written the same statement very differently.
Very different, yeah.
So it goes back to the point I keep saying.
That the communication has been a problem for the office. It is a
big problem for the OSP. Charlie, it's not everything that you have to show that you know English. It's not everything you must show you know English.
The law is the law. Oh, this one, the law is not the law.
Charlie, this is not necessary. This is very needless. And you know, off air, I was telling you that it is very possible that the head of the institution, the SP himself, knows nothing about this incident. It's very possible. And this statement confirms that feeling I had. I mean, oh no, Charlie, this one, yeah. No.
I mean, I'll be very honest.
Obstruction of justice, a duty.
I'll be very honest.
Oh no.
It's a charge that, respectfully, hasn't been placed before a court yet, but I don't see how that sticks anywhere. If it was an altercation of words, use of words, and no defense to say that, because insulting someone is defamatory. It is not something which is supposed to have you. So I want to understand properly. Perhaps you are the lawyers. In what world does exchanging words with a lawful officer, you haven't said you will not be arrested, amounts to obstruction. So yes, I'm trying to recreate the scenario based on what Mr. Kpebu said and the version of accounts by the
In fact,
OSP.
that account even corroborates portions of the statement that Martin Kpebu gave.
So if I am entering a space, is it no? It cannot be unlawful entry because he was invited into the space, and so he was in the space.
He was invited.
Then Martin says he was called.
And you cannot invite me and tell me that you are not responsible for my parking.
I don't want to enter into those parts because
but that is
I understand.
That is the root of everything, from both accounts.
From both
accounts, it started with where Martin Kpebu had to park.
Yeah.
And number two, going back to grant an interview. That is what triggered all of this.
I'm just trying to.
So we invite a resource person to a panel discussion on our show. They get to the gate, then Super says, you can't park here. I mean, how is that possible?
I want us to stay off, you can't park here. I'm trying to recreate the scenario.
Charlie,
because we'll talk about something else.
Let's talk about something.
But let me just recreate that scenario, right? So I'm entering and they say, you this, that, and I say, Sixus, you can't tell me that. You say I am stupid. I say you two, you are stupid.
You are stupid.
And we exchange words.
Typical Ghanaian behavior.
No way. And then I proceed to enter the office, and then I am told that because I was exchanging words with you, an official of the state, I have obstructed you in the performance of your function.
They have to demonstrate that.
Yeah.
They have to demonstrate that.
I respectfully think that
they have to demonstrate that.
Stick. Respectfully.
And you issue a statement to explain this? Come on.
Tariffs are expected to go up.
If the director did not have a media background, my approach to this would have been very different. But he's my senior by far in the practice. Well, I don't know. It's not every media person who is a public relations person or a communications person that we can all agree on. But the mere fact that you have practiced in the media before gives you a certain level of experience that you don't necessarily have to sit in a PR class to be able to handle certain things. You get it? But he is our senior in the media by far.
Yeah.
And he's worked for reputable media organizations. So some of the things that I see coming out of the OASP, it is really not. And for me, I blame that interface. Because that is what lets us into the heart of the OASP. That communication unit is what lets us into the heart of the OASP. The OASP can be doing a lot, but if the communication is not proper, if it is condescending, if it is I know it all, if it is, and Ghanaians will not take kindly to some of these things. In Ghana, everybody knows. And everybody has a right, which right must be respected. So the fact that you are the office holder does not mean you know it all. Or you, Charlie, let's move on.
Tariffs are expected to go up. Trade Union Congress has been reacting to this. They're saying, look, this is like robbing Peter to pay Paul. I heard the news yesterday as well. We know that they were in that long drawn meeting. When I say they, I mean the utility service providers. I remember when they were asking for over 200% increase and the likes. This is what they were given. 9.8% for electricity, 15.9% for water. Those are the increments which have been afforded. And Labour is not happy. Labour is not in the least happy at all about this. And
sometimes I ask myself whether the PURC is for the public or against the public, whether it works for the utility service providers or it works for the public. I mean, we yesterday I was talking about the hypocrisy of food vendors. We all say that prices have gone down, fuel is gone down, dollar is falling, or CD is catching up to the dollar, and then the prices are still high, and they argue that no, CD and fuel have no influence or direct correlation on their.
Who argued
on their? Oh, we had that discussion yesterday, and I said that was hypocritical. It's the same thing we are seeing here.
It cannot be. Can never be. Will never be.
Live in this era. Then we are still getting increments. Meanwhile, the conversations we have always had about leakages, I'm not sure we are getting any responses to those conversations. I'm not sure. So
revenue leakages? What leakages?
No, even leakages
about?
in the
distribution.
In the distribution. So whether it's water or it's power.
So illegal connections.
All those things. So I'm wondering, PURC, are you for us or you're against us? Are you for the service providers or you are for the public? Or your interest is to ensure that none is shortchanged? The service provider gets what he deserves, and the consumer also pays equitably. It has to come.
I think the PURC has to speak to us today.
It has to come again.
They need to explain why this percentage increase, and it's taking effect on the 1st of January. I know. So I'm torn in between giving the utility service providers the deserved increment, but I'm also asking, because I remember some months ago, just about 2 months ago, when they announced tariff increases, I spoke to Dr. Eric Obute, who speaks for the PURC, and I asked very simple questions as to why the benefit of the city's performance had not reflected in any of the tariff reviews that we've seen, because a number of things go into tariff increases. Yes, there is the production costs and a host of other important matters, but what cannot be discounted is the performance of the city as well, because for electricity, for instance, it's produced in dollars, it's sold in cedi, and so when the cedi was depreciating against the US dollar, we saw that tariffs were being hiked to correspond and seek to try and balance it out, because no matter how well you are able to sell, you always be in a deficit because you are buying in dollars and you're selling in cedis. But now that the city has begun to appreciate, it's performed creditably for the entirety of 2025, we didn't see a resultant decrease in tariffs. The explanation we got then was that there were debts that needed to be cleared within the energy sector. And luckily, because of the good performance of the city, we were using the windfalls plus a subsequent increase to clear that debt. We cleared it, and even after we cleared it, we were so slapped with increases in tariffs. And so now I want to understand why the 9.8, because yes, the utility service, ECG for instance, said they wanted 200% increment in tariffs. I'm not sure they got it. Why didn't they give it to them? What justifications do they have for giving them the 9.8%? That's why I'm being too careful in not saying that, look, are you for us or you are against us? Because when the service providers went there, they provided justification as to why they needed 200%.
Yes.
And so the PURC has looked at 200% and said, I'll give you 9.8, which is like 10%, and 15.9, which is like 16%. So let us understand, when do we begin to see like the result? And for water, we know that because of the cost of treatment, Galamsey and its added effect of making the water very expensive to treat is one of the major reasons why they are asking for increment in their tariffs. And so let's mirror all of that, or have that context in all of the conversation, even as we proceed on that score. But most definitely, the labor unions are not very pleased with the development.
If you want to increase tariffs, then do something about the 9%. Is that not what they said? You must give us more money. Recall when we were discussing this, I said whether 7% or 9% or 20% would depend on the prevailing conditions and cost of living.
Absolutely.
So we are going back to that same point. 9% might be good, it might be okay. But the least trigger, then you see that people say, no, it's not enough. So I don't know if it's too late for PURC to try another round of discussions.
I think they've gone past it.
They've gone past that stage because they would have had the regional tours and then ended up at this announcement. But they have to. PURC really has to look at it again. Otherwise, the gains that are being made by the government, in working out, trying to let us have a good or stable exchange rate, ensuring that the market is good for us. All of those gains will begin to be questioned.
I am, again, like I said, I am tempted to understand the water situation, particularly the water treatment, because it is becoming expensive to treat water in this country because of Galamsey. And so for water, it has a direct correlation to the activities of Galamsey and the fact that 60% of our water bodies are polluted, heavily polluted. In fact, they've been shutting down treatment plants because of the silt components coming through. And so I am just tempted to believe that there is some justification in that front.
No, there definitely will be a justification.
For the energy space, the electricity is where I want explanations further from PURC. You said they'll ask for justification.
No, there will definitely be a justification. But is the justification justifiable? Unfortunately for us in this country,
nobody ever wants to pay more.
Unfortunately for us in this country, we really have nobody speaking for the consumer. We have nobody speaking for the consumer.
Set up a consumer rights.
I agree with you.
You and I.
You are telling your employers that you want to set up something.
No, I'm saying because nobody ever really speaks for
I'm
the
a loss in his calling. Go and explain why you want to.
No,
anyway, but Marina, allow me to take you back to the OSP issues. I'm getting a lot. Maybe you may want to check under our stream as well. I'm getting a lot of messages on the side. I'm not sure. I don't know whether they want me to even read this. So I'll read them without mentioning the names, because the thing the OSP must understand, particularly the director of strategy and research. Samir's position is what again?
I never really, but I just know him as the communications director of the Office of.
Yes, no, it goes beyond communication. Yes,
director of. Okay, so I'm actually on his Facebook wall, but I just see director at Office of the Special Prosecutor. I think he's director of communication strategy and one other thing which always seems to escape me. But he's director of strategy as well and research. And research. So director of communication strategy and research.
You see, particularly the statement, and I've noticed that anytime there's an issue from the OASP and the statement comes, the statement attracts more public uproar than even the incident itself. You see, let me read these messages, and we can start with tilapia. We haven't done our tilapia moment in quite a while, and I think tilapia captures it aptly. Priorities: fight against corruption. Then you have former government appointee climbing up and running away. The flight is already.
There can be no other individual but one person.
I don't know who tilapia is talking about.
There can be no other individual. If you not say it, I'll say it.
It says away.
Because that one individual is why we are where we are today.
And there's a private sector worker behind bars already, but the government appointee, he has awayed. So if you are following us on our socials, you would see that beautiful, thought-provoking one from tilapia.
You mentioned
let me,
a number of the messages.
yeah, so let me read this. So, assuming Kisi did not know about the arrest, how long did it take him to hear? As a question. Did it not occur to any senior person present? It is obvious Kisi was expecting Martin and would be on speed dial with the case officer while Martin was there, even if he was not. So, assuming that, no, did it not occur to any senior person present that there would be media present when Martin arrived? What plans did they make for that scenario? So those people allowed a useless side issue due to their own internal poor planning to cause them an own goal. All these are questions, though. In his own statement, they mentioned his media prominence. They didn't plan for that. What did it take to make reception arrangements from the head of security to the case officer ahead of his arrival? Another question. Abba. They've set their own trap and must suffer for it. Very poor operations management. They need help.
The Office of the Special Prosecutor.
So how this arrest had nothing to do with the substantive reason for his invitation? Look at the public uproar and castigation. Ahead of the real matter yet to begin, they are toast.
And these are messages which are coming.
And these are messages that are coming in. And these are senior people who are sending these messages. The other one I want to read, but I don't want to read again. So somebody says, we are not crucifying him again. We are burning the cross and the SP. So you see, I started by saying that these side issues draw uproar and make people not even realize the essence of the office. Well, in any case, I still stand for the office. If you are crucifying the SP, we cannot.
When we return after the newspaper review and after the phone-in segment, we'll get into this conversation proper, because former Speaker of Parliament, Professor Mike Aaron Okoye, yesterday spoke as well about the Office of the Special Prosecutor.
How many times do you hear that man speak?
And he spoke to us yesterday
to this issue
and said he had no business inviting Martin Kpebu in the first place over the allegations he had made, and has questioned why the office is in existence, and that the Director of Public Prosecution should be handed the keys to deal with corruption-related matters and not the Office of the Special Prosecutor. But let me just read a few more of the messages on our stream as well. This one is from Neron de Boanegis, is a usual follower. The OSP is power drunk, even from the way their communication director Samed Ako talks, arrogant and no respect. Listening to the OSP is funny. That's Inusa Rashid. Neron again comes back to say, even their own statements gave them up. You arrest the man and let his lawyer go for the same reasons he was arrested. Is it? Yeah. Quite interesting, actually. So he was arrested for obstruction because he said he was causing a nuisance. Then he said one of the lawyers was engaged in the same act, but you didn't arrest that person. You know? So Neron has actually raised a very important point, that even their own statements gave them up. You arrest the man and let his lawyer go for the same reasons
you arrested him.
Very, very important point Neron makes, actually. I have to give that to him. Is it the Kpebu I know who is being described by the OSP this way? That's Kojo Fiagbe. Neron comes back to say he's power drunk, and that's why he talks anyhow and arrogantly. Then Jerry Donko speaks to the issues of Tariff, says that from all the things we've heard that happen at ECG, misuse of revenues, etc., I am convinced they make so much, and that's why they went on the spending spree. So why the increase in tariffs? Do they enjoy robbing we the citizens? Somebody should come and explain to us why they want to increase the tariff. And Jerry, we'll seek to ask those questions for you this morning as well. Let
me take a final one from Bawku Powers. He's one of the people we speak to very often. He has actually written about it. He sent me a link to a publication he made. What happened to Kpebu is reprehensible, no question. But it is also the routine experience of countless Ghanaians. These practices have existed within our security agencies for decades. And there's another portion of the statement I wanted to read. But you see, what he said also reminds me. You know, there was a guy who was arrested for making allegations of galamsey against Ashanti.
That guy is
I understand the guy is
custody.
still in custody. Why?
Please, we beg you.
Why?
We are,
Why is this boy still in custody? The man has made allegations.
defamatory comments are not.
Take him to court. In any case, let the officers who the allegations have been made against, let them take the man to court.
Yeah.
Why has it become a state fight?
It cannot be, and there's great disappointment in the continuous defense of that singular act.
Oh no!
It cannot be. Must not be. Should not be.
An individual made defamatory comments against a public officer.
You see, the
public officer
idea that
cannot go to court and sue for defamation. It has to become a burden on the people. So the Republic is now taking the case against what's the guy's name again? I'll get the name. I'll mention it.
But the entire idea that, look, let us show him something small, right?
Which is terrible.
It is. I believe it is what happened in this instance with Martin Kpebu. It is what is happening with the instance of the young gentleman who has been engaged or was engaged in that tirade against
something
some
Wendell.
persons. Look, you cannot use law enforcement agencies to settle private scores.
I recall the uproar when this man he made some allegations against the former first lady. And
Bongo ideas.
No, not Bongo ideas.
Works with one of the Akan stations and was picked up. I think there was a storming of the radio station. We all know the individual, but there's a name that's escaping us.
So this guy is called Wendell. The name I'm looking for, Wendell. I'm not getting Wendell Nana Yao Yebwa. He's the one who made the allegations against the Ashanti regional minister and some other person, saying they are involved in
President Mahama
galamsey operations.
We beg of you. You're a media person at heart. You've been since. In fact, he's paid his GJ dues for life.
Yes.
And so, if there's anybody who, for no particular reason, will want speech to be criminalized, it is you. Please. Who, for whatever reason, this Wendell man is still in police custody. Because that charge, you Sixus who is here knows it will not stick. Publication of false news, creating fear and panic and what have you. I don't know how they are going to substantiate. To say that someone is engaged in activities of galamsey, I don't know how that creates fear and panic. And so, please, cause the young man to be released and take him on for the defamatory comment he made. But to continue to keep him in detention,
it is wrong.
Absolutely. In every sense of the word. It's been more than a week.
A week.
It is so wrong.
No, it is wrong.
Must not happen. Look, when it happens under a previous, we will criticize. It must not happen.
It is wrong.
Because things like this happened under the actual administration and they were strongly criticized. It must not happen. It must not be seen to be happening under this administration. We beg you, release the young man. Let him go home to his family and drag him to the court to answer for the comment he made, because the law affords you the right to do that, but not to keep him in police custody.
In any case, if the allegations are against the public officers, are the public officers being investigated? Is there any investigation going on against the Ashanti regional minister and the other person? Are they being investigated based on these allegations? If they are not being investigated, why are you detaining the person?
Let me talk to you about Rosebank International University quickly, and so that we can get onto the phone lines and have you share your thoughts with us.